Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for cinema's most emotionally moving scores and original songs, within and beyond the film's context, just as long as the music was composed specifically for these soundtracks.
A world that's full of happiness that I have never known.
Number 20, Jurassic Park. Director Steven Spielberg and composer John Williams know how to evoke nostalgia on a colossal scale. Granted, there's not much fond nostalgia for prehistoric monsters. Sure enough, the orchestral score for Jurassic Park is a mostly pulse-pounding opus to complement the thrills in dinosaur clones on the loose. But when we first see the groundbreaking CGI, the sweeping theme draws on the majesty of both nature and technology. This became a leitmotif throughout the film, then a franchise, marking one of the most powerfully recognizable pieces in 90s soundtracks. Williams' passion is essential to evolving Jurassic Park from a blockbuster to a masterpiece. While the music didn't really do much for the polarizing sequels, the original amusement park perils are a true emotional roller coaster. Number 19, Her. The love story of a lonely man and an AI program sounds like a tough sell. The brilliant filmmaking makes Her work, while the soundtrack makes it absolutely heartwarming. Composed by the indie rock band Arcade Fire and their occasional violinist keyboardist Owen Pallett, it's the perfect blend of futuristic style and ambient sentimentality. The sparse and ethereal tone is hypnotic enough without the film's layered drama. There's also a sweet moment when the lead characters improvise the Moon Song, actually written by Karen O of Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
I'm lying on the moon, my dear, I'll be there soon.
She also performs the song over the credits, with the Vampire Weekend's Ezra Koenig. These indie all-stars were all nominated for Oscars, but the highest praise came from the listeners Her spoke to. Number 18, Once.
When your mind's made up, there's no point even talking. When your mind...
Musical and romantic dramatist John Carney first struck a chord with Once. It's a largely underrated slice of life until it comes alive with stylish numbers that propel the story of two aspiring musicians trying to make it in Dublin. The powerful voices of folk rockers Glenn Hansard and Marketa Orglova, accompanied by the latter's band Interference, moved audiences beyond any expectations for the modest production. Falling Slowly won the Academy Award for Best Original Song and is now considered a staple of indie folk.
Take this sinking boat and point it home. We've still got time.
And Hansard and Orglova later reunited for an immensely successful Tony-sweeping stage adaptation. There's no doubting the pop cultural resonance of Once, or that this was mostly thanks to it exemplifying music's power to emotionally unite us. Number 17, The Shawshank Redemption. It sounds like freedom in the iconic scene where Andy Dufresne plays a recording of the Marriage of Figaro over the prison loudspeaker, but it feels like Mozart can barely hold a candle to Thomas Newman's captivating work on The Shawshank Redemption. His score is an often brooding symphony with elements of waltz and blues to capture the sense of systemized entrapment in prison life. And in those moments of personal liberation for the inmates, the orchestra makes you feel it. Among the film's 7 Oscar nominations was the first of the 15 Newman would receive. Now considered one of the greatest composers in contemporary Hollywood, he is still particularly beloved for conducting the complex emotions of The Shawshank Redemption. Number 16, Brokeback Mountain. The ballad of Ennis Del Mar and Jack Twist may be one of quiet desperation, but the music says it all. Gustavo Santaolalla was best known for his work in Spanish-language cinema when he brought unique warmth and orchestration to the acoustic overtones of the neo-Western romance, Brokeback Mountain. It's a sort of classical country, highlighting some of the most devastating breakthroughs in the usually quiet affair. The soundtrack also features enchanting original songs, like Rufus Wainwright's The Maker Makes, and the Emmylou Harris-Bernie Taupin collab, A Love That Will Never Grow Old.
'Cause I know a love that will never grow old.
But it was Santaolalla who took home the Oscar, setting up a renowned international film career and years of breaking hearts with Brokeback Mountain. Number 15, Up. Michael Giacchino's Oscar-winning work on Pixar's Up starts on an emotional high note with a montage following Carl and Ellie Fredrickson's life together. From this romance and heartbreak comes a lively, jazzy journey beyond the clouds. And yet, as exciting as the orchestral score gets in The Perilous Paradise Falls, there's just as much emphasis placed on the majesty of this world and the emotional growth of the characters. Pixar fans have since regarded Up as one of the studio's most tonally dynamic masterpieces, thanks in no small part to the music. With so many highs and lows though, Giacchino takes you on an emotional adventure, independent of the classic family flick. Number 14, The Lion King. How many Disney movies come roaring out the gate like this? The Lion King was immediately praised for its collaboration between pop icon Elton John, songwriting legend Tim Rice, and master composer Hans Zimmer. From a soundtrack full of catchy classics, Circle of Life and the Oscar-winning Can You Feel the Love Tonight stand out for their poignant sweep. Of course, Zimmer's score, which won him his first Academy Award, boasts a visceral intensity and gravity beyond most family fare. This brilliant blend of Western and African classical is a moving epic on its own, inspiring one of the most beloved stage musicals of all time. It all began with a cinematic symphony to move families to sing, dance, and weep for generations. Number 13, Interstellar. It's seldom sappy when filmmaker Christopher Nolan and composer Hans Zimmer team up on a thrilling genre epic, but Interstellar was something different for both visionaries and required innovation to the stars.
Doyle, back to the Ranger now.
The saga of a mission to colonize humanity's next homeworld naturally takes Zimmer's classical scope and futuristic electronics to awesome heights. Leading this advanced technology, however, is a 1926 Harrison & Harrison pipe organ. This infuses the sleek orchestra with a celestial soul that ties this journey back to the high stakes and the anguish in our hero's sacrifice.
Go for main engine start, T-minus 10, 9.
The complex tones encompass the whole human condition, distinguishing Interstellar as a thinking man's blockbuster, and its soundtrack as a haunting achievement in musical engineering. Number 12, Braveheart. James Horner's signature Celtic musical sensibilities were brought to the forefront in one of the definitive Hollywood epics of the 90s. Mel Gibson's Braveheart dramatizes the life of Scottish rebel William Wallace with an often tense grandeur, but is highlighted by romantic or morose tributes to the victims of colonialism.
I will love you my whole life. You and no other.
And I you. You and no other, forever.
Either way, Horner expands the incredible beauty and instrumentation of Scottish folk music through the London Symphony Orchestra, drama and culture aggrandize each other in this anthemic rallying cry of a score. Consequently, Braveheart has been accused of firing up Anglophobic sentiments as well as Scottish pride, but Horner's masterful compositions really have the scope and personality to resonate with any culture. Number 11, The Thin Red Line. Terrence Malick's haunting sense of imagery and philosophy is matched by his taste in sacred music. The original pieces for the ethereal war epic The Thin Red Line particularly measure up to the likes of Gabriel Fauré and Arvo Part. The Melanesian folk choirs are enchanting enough. And as much suspense as Hans Zimmer predictably packs into the action, the soulful soundscapes truly pull you into the intense emotions of the battlefield and the nature it destroys. The masterpiece, Journey to the Line, was even licensed by so many dramatic sequences that Zimmer himself dubbed it the Forbidden Cue. Malick's The Thin Red Line is just that powerful in its contrast between beauty and brutality, down to the music. Number 10, Once Upon a Time in the West. Ennio Morricone became an international sensation through his rousing work with director Sergio Leone on the Dollar Trilogy. With their collaboration on Once Upon a Time in the West, the world heard something more profound. The fusion of cowboy drama, European classical, and electric instruments create a rich, unmistakable tone for this classic epic spaghetti western. The lament of personal and cultural loss in the Old West is especially felt in the mesmerizing emotive pieces. The theme, led by the soprano Etta Del Orso's vocalization, is nothing short of iconic. For such an unsentimental depiction of the American frontier's demise, Once Upon a Time in the West matches tension and tenderness in a way unique to the genre, thanks to music that's revered on its own.
Gonna be a beautiful town, Sweetwater.
I hope you'll come back someday.
Number 9, La La Land. Old Hollywood fantasy and bittersweet reality mingle in Damien Chazelle's La La Land. Certainly, Benj Pasek and Justin Paul write lots of hopping jazz musical throwbacks, boosted by Justin Hurwitz's Oscar-winning score.
Is this the start of something wonderful and new? Or one more dream that I cannot make true?
But the film also takes inspiration from more experimental dramas, like the French masterpiece The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Numbers like City of Stars and Planetarium are simply enchanting in their whimsical romance, and it's near impossible to not break down at the Emma Stone solo, Audition, The Fools Who Dream.
Here's to the fools who dream, crazy as they may seem. Here's to the hearts that break.
As it all comes down to a sprawling finale with no dialogue over the score, there shouldn't be a dry eye in the house. Whether with nostalgia or melancholy, La La Land is sure to fill the crowd's heart. Number 8, Forrest Gump. The period soundtrack for Robert Zemeckis' Forrest Gump is surely an iconic work of nostalgia, but to be more sentimental, Alan Silvestri's original score evokes a wave of emotions. From the unmistakable piano leitmotifs to the triumphant crescendos, it's the perfect complement to the heart-trending saga of a naive man who represents the resilience of the modern American spirit.
From that day on, if I was going somewhere, I was running.
The gorgeous music itself became a pop culture phenomenon for its sentimentality, often fit for parody. Under Zemeckis' direction, however, the score is consistently cued at the perfect time to maximize emotion rather than manipulation. Forrest Gump has a reputation for being one of the top tearjerkers of the 90s, but Silvestri is the one responsible. Number 7, Saving Private Ryan. Steven Spielberg's revolutionary World War II epic boasts a very particular kind of American patriotism. It's based on humanity above all else, and it's fueled by a distinctly John Williams score. Usually played in the context of carnage after intense combat scenes, the music in Saving Private Ryan morosely draws on the weight of the senseless violence. At the same time, the grandeur of militarized American classical pays respect to these men's sacrifices for a better world and their brothers in arms. This would set the tone for future war epics' knack for grim sweep. Saving Private Ryan is an altogether immersive and visceral experience, but the way Williams breaks the grim tension is what truly gives it meaning. Number 6. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Among the many daunting tasks for Peter Jackson's adaptation of the Lord of the Rings trilogy was creating the right soundtrack. Hollywood fantasy films were rarely that deeply emotional, with Howard Shore surely delivering beautiful whimsical themes and driving tension. By referencing more prestigious epics, however, he brought an operatic passion that respected focus on character drama. Besides this soulful fanfare, each massive installment closes with a tender ballad. Annie Lennox's Into the West is all the more moving for its tribute to Cameron Duncan, a teenage fan who passed away before the release of The Return of the King.
What can you see? Why do the white gulls call?
Jackson's trilogy changed the way audiences emotionally invest in fantasy movies, though he owes a lot to Shore's masterful ear. Number 5. Gladiator. Elevating the period action epic to new prestige, Ridley Scott's Gladiator was an unexpectedly emotional journey for audiences. The score is thus recognized as one of the greatest composed by Hans Zimmer, albeit not single-handedly. Some of the most moving cues were co-written by Lisa Gerrard of the neoclassical group Dead Can Dance. Her diverse folk sensibilities and dreamy contralto interact with Zimmer's artistic breadth to draw on the humanity of those oppressed by an empire. The Golden Globe-winning score also inspired a musical trend in classical epic films that often entailed wailing woman vocals. Despite the cheap manipulations of its disciples, Gladiator's innovative music alone is as moving as it is entertaining. Number 4. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. One of the quintessential collaborations between Steven Spielberg and John Williams is also one of the defining scores of the 1980s. The sheer majesty of the uplifting themes in E.T. the Extraterrestrial should make viewers misty with nostalgia. But the mix of tragedy and triumph in E.T.'s adventures on Earth is especially touching for Williams' masterful musical storytelling. In an age of pop-oriented movie music, this old-fashioned orchestration made the sci-fi coming-of-age feel like the prestigious classic it would become. The score itself became one of the few to ever win a BAFTA, a Golden Globe, an Oscar, and a Grammy. Every generation since has grown up listening and tearing up to the E.T. soundtrack. Number 3. Cinema Paradiso. The film, credited with reviving Italian cinema, did so by reminding audiences of the power of art itself. Giuseppe Tornatore's Cinema Paradiso is driven by nostalgia, but anyone can emotionally connect with Ennio Morricone's art. He returned sweeping, heavily thematic 80s scoring to its classical roots, while sophisticatedly pouring on awe and sentimentality. For a coming-of-age so bittersweet, the tone could have been cloying. Instead, Morricone and Tornatore coordinate to make every passionate cue feel humanistic. Tornatore's son, Andrea, even composed the film's iconic love theme. This marked his breakout, while the soundtrack is overall considered one of his father's finest works. Though Cinema Paradiso overtly celebrates the immersive resonance of film, the equal significance of music speaks for itself. Number 2. Titanic. How did sci-fi action filmmaker James Cameron turn a historic tragedy into such a powerful romantic epic? One key factor can be heard from the hypnotic opening minutes of Titanic. James Horner's score mostly alternates between the exhilarating spirit of adventure and the serenity of the love story. But even as the eponymous ocean liner sinks, the action-packed symphony still maintains the poignant themes. It's a colossus of soul that culminates in Celine Dion singing My Heart Will Go On, one of the most loved love songs of the 90s. Horner wound up taking home 2 Oscars, while the Titanic score became one of the top-selling soundtracks of all time. Even without the visual spectacle, the music is a dramatic triumph.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Schindler's List. The subject of Schindler's List is so weighty that John Williams told Steven Spielberg it demanded a better composer. Spielberg responded, "I know, but they're all dead." And so, the maestro moved forward with composing a sparse masterpiece befitting the human condition displayed during the Holocaust. The film ultimately features less than an hour of original music across 195 minutes, so every cue counts in moments of agony and hope, with serene orchestration. Led by renowned Israeli violinist Itzhak Perlman, Williams claimed one of the film's 7 Academy Awards for what is widely considered one of the most affecting scores of its era. Schindler's List exemplifies how to use a soundtrack to tastefully enhance a solemn film and move listeners afterward. What other film soundtracks are an emotional journey in their own right? Tune in to the comments below.
We'll see you again. But not yet.